Echo from Above. That was the title I had scribbled at the top of my notebook, almost unconsciously, the night everything began. I am not a man prone to fantasy. I deal in facts, in testimony, in words sharpened by truth. I was in Washington, just weeks after the congressional hearings on UAP's unidentified anomalous phenomena where David Grush sat under oath and said things that rattled the world. He claimed the government was hiding non-human craft. And for the first time, I felt my profession, the endless chase for verifiable truth, colliding with something larger. That night, alone in my apartment, I replayed the hearing footage. Grush's eyes were steady. His voice didn't tremble. He wasn't a man spinning stories for attention. Something in me whispered, go find it yourself. I knew the rumors. Out in New Mexico, beyond the highways, beyond the reach of cell towers, there were places spoken of in half sentences. Crush sites. Restricted zones. Locals muttering about lights that descended soundlessly into the desert, then vanished. I told myself it would be nothing more than background color for an article. A journey to test the edges of a story. But in truth, I was chasing the echo of Grush's testimony, chasing what the sky might reveal if I stayed long enough. 2 days later, I was driving south, my car groaning under the heat. Windows down, the desert air dry as bone, and a sense almost physical that the horizon was waiting for me. The radio lost its signal. The world became silence and wind. I stopped at a diner near Socorro, the kind of place where time seems to rot slowly in the corners. The waitress, a woman with tired eyes and a voice like sandpaper, poured me coffee without asking. "You're not from around here," she said. I shook my head. "Just passing through, headed toward the Jornada Desert." Her hand froze around the coffee pot. "Nobody just passes through there, not unless they're looking for something." She leaned closer. "Or running from something." Her words lingered as I left, the taste of burnt coffee clinging to my tongue. Out on the road, the desert stretched like a great empty campus, every mile pulling me deeper. By sunset, the sky turned into a bruise of purple and orange. I pulled over, unable to resist. The silence was enormous. No crickets. No birds. Just wind brushing against the sand. That's when I saw it. At first, a shimmer like heat distortion, low over the horizon. But the sun had already sunk. The air was cool. The shimmer grew brighter, a vertical line of pale blue light humming in the distance. Not lightning. Not headlights. Something else. My heart punched my ribs. I grabbed my recorder, pressing the button with shaking fingers. This isn't my voice cracked. This is August 15th. Near Tronada del Muerto, I am witnessing some kind of vertical illumination on the horizon, blue in color, no sound. The line of light split into 2. Then 3. Then it collapsed inward, like a curtain drawn into itself. And in its place, silence so heavy I felt my eardrums ache. The desert smelled like ozone. Metallic. Charged. The hairs on my arm stood up. Then came the echo. Not through the air, through my chest. A vibration. A resonance that made my bones hum. Words formed, though not spoken. "You hear us." I staggered, nearly dropping the recorder. "No," I whispered to myself. "No, this can tea." Lights bloomed again. This time closer. Descending without movement, as though the horizon itself had folded. Shapes within the glow twisted, unrecognizable. The echo deepened, then you will see. I ran back to my car, slamming the door shut. The steering wheel burned hot beneath my palms. The engine roared, but the lights didn't fade. They rose, spread wide across the sky, blotting the stars. And then, the engine died. The headlights cut out. Everything was swallowed by darkness except the glow above me. The desert was supposed to be empty. But that night, under the suffocating glow, it felt alive, breathing, watching. My car had gone silent, dead as stone, the dashboard black, the keys useless in the ignition. I sat frozen, fingers digging into the steering wheel, sweat crawling down my neck. Above me, the light stretched wide, folding and unfolding like a living membrane. And beneath it, the silence. A silence so deep it seemed to devour every sound my body tried to make: heartbeat, breath, even thought. Then a vibration. The same bone-deep resonance I had felt before, rolling through me like thunder inside my chest. Not sound, more like an invasion. "You will not move." The words weren't spoken aloud, but the meaning struck clear as lightning. My hand slipped from the wheel. I couldn't breathe. It was as if my lungs belonged to someone else. I tried to scream, nothing came out. The desert itself seemed to hold me in place. Then footsteps. Not on sand. Not on gravel. On something closer. The sound of a heel on glass, deliberate, measured, circling my car. I turned my head, slow as rust. The glow refracted against the windshield, bending into shapes, no, figures. Not human. Not solid. Like shadows made of liquid light. One leaned closer. I could see my reflection warp across its surface, my eyes wide and mouth trembling. The resonance deepened, you hear. You see. You will remember. My chest unlocked. I gasped, clutching at air, dragging it in like I'd been underwater. But the moment I moved, the glow throbbed violently. Blue light seared the desert floor, sand turning white hot. The echo roared, not yet. And then, as suddenly as it came, the glow folded inward. The sky was clear. Stars blinked back into existence, calm and ordinary. My headlights flicked on by themselves, the engine coughing to life. The car stereo bled static, then cut to a voice, my own voice. This is August 15th, near Trinidad del Muerto. I am witnessing my recording. Playing back from nowhere. Repeating the words I had spoken minutes before, distorted, doubled, as though I had been speaking alongside something else. I slammed the radio off. Silence returned, heavy and choking. I gripped the wheel, fingers shaking. Drive, I muttered. Just drive. The car obeyed. I pulled onto the highway, engine whining as though reluctant. But I didn't see nowhere to go. Every direction was desert. Every mile marker looked the same. It felt like I had entered a place that no map could show. Midnight. The horizon was black glass. My headlights carved out a fragile cone of vision. And that S when I saw it at the gas station. Flickering neon, a pale beacon in the emptiness. I pulled in tires crunching against gravel. The pumps were old, rusted, but the convenience store glowed faintly. A bell jingled as I stepped inside. The air smelled stale, like paper that had been locked in a drawer for decades. Rows of dusty snacks lined the shelves. And behind the counter sat a man gaunt, pale, eyes sunken as if he hadn't slept in years. You saw them, didn't you? He asked, before I could say a word. The hair on my arms rose. My mouth was dry. What are you talking about? His lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. They dawned he let you leave, not once you heard the echo. His eyes flaked to the door. Go home, if you still can. I stepped back, heart hammering. What do you mean? But the man didn't answer. He stared past me toward the desert and I realized the bell above the door was still ringing soft, endless, though the door had long closed behind me. I turned to look, and saw that outside, the pumps, the road, the desert itself were gone. Only the glow remained. The door clicked shut behind me, the bell still trembling with its endless chime. I froze, staring out the glass. No palms. No asphalt. No stars. Just the glow, an ocean of shifting blue-white light, rippling like water suspended in midair. My lungs shrank. I pressed a hand to the glass, but it wasn't glass anymore. It bent beneath my touch, soft as fabric, cold as stone. Behind me, the man at the counter hadn't moved. But his eyes were glowing faintly too. They showed themselves to you. I spun around. What is this place? His voice was flat, resigned. It isn't a place, it is a threshold. They dawned he let everyone step across, only the ones who listen. His words clawed at me. The echo, I whispered. He nodded once. That resonance in your bones, it has not sound, it has them, rearranging you, piece by piece, so you can hear what no one else hears. I staggered back against the counter, a stack of dusty newspapers collapsing at my side. The headline on the top sheet caught my eye. It was dated July 2023. Congress holds historic UFO hearing. I felt my stomach drop. That was only weeks ago. How could it already look yellowed, decades old? I grabbed the paper, shoving it toward him. You knew what they testified to. His gaze cut through me. Those hearings were never for them, they were for you. My skin went cold. What do you mean for me? You think it was coincidence? He leaned forward, whispering. They opened the door because you were watching, you were listening, and once you've heard the echo, it never stops. A sharp ringing filled my skull. Not the bell, something inside my head. I dropped the paper, clutching my ears. But there was no use. The sound wasn't in the air. It was in me. The man's voice dissolved under it, his lips still moving, but I couldn't hear. The wall tilted, shelves stretching tall and thin like warped reflections in a carnival mirror. The floor quaked beneath me. I stumbled, knocking into a rack of postcards. Images spilled out, but they weren't of highways or deserts. They showed places I'd never seen. Black oceans under red skies. Cities that floated, fractal and infinite. A canyon carved from light, alive, riding like muscle. The ringing surged. I dropped to my knees, gasping. And then, silence. I raised my head. The man behind the counter was gone. The shelves were gone. The walls gone. I was standing on cracked earth, under a sky of pure white. No sun. No stars. Just white. And stretching before me a structure. It wasn't built. It had grown. A spire of black glass, twisting upward like a frozen scream. Every surface pulsed faintly, as though something beneath was alive. I whispered into the emptiness. "What is this?" The echo answered, low, vibrating through my marrow. "The archive. You are inside it now." I stumbled back, but the desert had no edges. The horizon folded into itself, the spire the only anchor in an endless sea of white. And then movement. Figures emerging from the spire space. Tall, angular, fluid, smoky yet heavy as stone. They moved with precision, as if each step had been rehearsed 1,000 times. Their faces, if you could call them that, were voids. Holes where light was swallowed. Yet I knew they were looking directly at me. The resonance grew sharper. You wanted truth. Now truth will take you. Figures approached, silent, deliberate. The spire of black glass loomed higher with every heartbeat, its surface shifting as if it reflected not the world, but the mind. I wanted to run. But the desert was gone, the horizon sealed. Only the spire. Only them. The resonance rolled through me, splitting thought from thought. You will enter. My legs moved without my command. Each step dragged me closer to the spire, my shoes grinding against cracked earth that wasn't here, that all it felt smooth, metallic, humming. As I reached the base, the figures parted, creating a corridor of silence. The black glass rippled open like liquid, revealing darkness deeper than night. I hesitated, teeth clenched so hard my jaw ached. My voice cracked out of me. "Why me?" The reply pressed through my skull. "Because you asked." And then I was inside. No walls. No ceiling. Only an expanse of corridors, endless, intersecting like veins. Each surface flickered faintly, glowing with images. I staggered forward, and the corridors came alive. A woman weeping beneath a burning sky. A city collapsing into the ocean. A soldier firing at shadows that bled light. The images weren't pictures, nor film. They were memories. Not mine. Not human. My hands trembled as I brushed against the surface. A rush of cold pierced my skull, and suddenly I was inside it. Sand underfoot. Night sky above. But the stars were wrong. Too many. Too close. And in the distance, a craft shaped like a crescent torn from the heavens, half buried, smoke curling from its broken skin. Figures swarmed around it, moving fast, desperate. They weren't rescuing. They were dismantling. Ripping it open. Harvesting. A scream tore through my chest, not mine, theirs. The sound of something alive being carved apart. I tore my hand back, collapsing onto the floor of the corridor, gasping like I'd drowned. The figures stood around me, watching. Expressionless voids. One leaned closer, and the resonance whispered, "Do you see what they do with truth?" My voice was barely a breath. That wasn't us." "Not at first," the echo replied. "But it became you." My skin burned with cold sweat. Images still flickered across the corridor walls, but now they shifted, faster, angrier newspapers blurring one into another. Roswell, 1947. Phoenix Lights, 1997. Congressional Hearing, 2023. Each headline dissolved into static, as if history itself were rotting away. I stumbled forward, deeper into the maze. The corridors bent, folding like paper, leading me to a chamber. Its center pulsed with a sphere of light, suspended, spinning slowly. Within it, voices, thousands of them, layered, whispering in every tongue I had ever heard and others I had not. The resonance sharpened. Archive of contact. All who heard. All who saw. Preserved. I pressed a shaking hand against my temple. "Why show me this? I am no one, just a reporter. The whisper cut me off, vibrating with a weight that dropped me to my knees. Because no one listens like you do. I wanted to scream, to fight, to run, but the sphere pulsed, brighter, closer. 1,000 voices surged into one. You must carry it. Light slammed into me, surging through my skull, my chest, my veins. I saw flashes, hands reaching through fire, a face dissolving into light, a planet tearing itself apart. Memories poured through me until I could no longer tell where they ended and I began. And then silence. I was standing again, alone in the chamber. The sphere hovered inches from my face, dim now, waiting. Inside it, one image remained, myself. Standing in the desert. Looking up. Waiting. The whisper came, low and final. You will remember for them. The sphere collapsed into my chest, vanishing without sound. My knees buckled. I fell forward onto the cold surface, and the chamber split open like glass under strain. The desert returned. The spire was gone. The figures gone. Only me, on my hands and knees, the night sky above. And far off, headlights a truck approaching down a lonely dirt road. The headlights grew brighter, cutting through the desert dark. Dust curled in the beam as the truck slowed, its engine growling low. I rose unsteadily, brushing grit from my palms. Every instinct screamed at me to hide, but there was nowhere to go. The truck stopped a few feet away. The driver's door creaked open. A man stepped out. Jeans, a sun-bleached jacket, face shadowed beneath the cap. He looked ordinary. Too ordinary. Car trouble? His voice was steady, casual. I tried to answer, but the words snagged in my throat. Because in his eyes for a split second they weren't eyes at all. They flickered like glass-catching firelight. I forced myself to nod. Yeah, lost my way. He studied me too long, then smiled. Lucky I was passing. But the way he said lucky made my skin crawl. The passenger door opened. A woman climbed out. Dark hair, long braid, movements too precise. Her gaze swept over me like a scanner, then returned to him. No words. Only silence that pressed too hard. I sat back. The resonance in my skull stirred, whispering like static. Not all voices are human. The woman's head tilted as if she'd heard it too. Her lips parted, and in a voice that didn't match her body she murmured, "You carry it." My heart punched my ribs. The man's smile stiffened, and in an instant the desert felt smaller, the night tighter, the stars were on again. I realized I wasn't rescued. I was found. "Get in," he said. Not a suggestion. An order. The resonance throbbed, urgent. "Do not enter." I forced a shaky laugh. "Appreciate it, but I'll wait for morning." His face froze, smile gone. The silence thickened until it felt like the desert itself held its breath. Then he slammed the door shut. The truck's engine roared alive. But they didn't drive off. They stayed. Headlights burning into me, unmoving, waiting. I turned, stumbling into the dark, away from the road, into the scrub and stone. The light followed. Slow at first, then faster. Tires grinding dirt. The engine growling closer. I ran, lungs burning, each step slicing through sand and rock. The resonance hissed. They are not what they seem. Keep moving. Do not stop. Behind me, the truck's horn blared long, hollow, and human. A sound no machine should make. I tripped, crashing against jagged stone. Pain tore through my leg. I clawed myself upright, breath broken, and froze. Up ahead, another light. Not headlights. Gold. Blue. Descending from above, silent as breath. I pressed myself against the rock, torn between two hungers, the ones hunting me from the road, and the one calling me from the sky. The desert trembled with both. And I understood whatever waited in silence had finally found me. The blue light swelled, spilling across the desert. It wasn't like moonlight, it carried weight, density, as if air itself thickened. My breath shortened. Each inhale dragged shards of cold through my chest. Behind me, the truck's engine held. But its roar grew distant, smothered, as if the light drowned sound itself. I staggered forward. Sand no longer crunched underfoot, instead, it whispered, like distant waves on a dead shore. The resonance in my skull sharpened, not words, not thoughts, but direction. It pushed me toward the glow. I lifted my eyes. The source descended just beyond the ridge. Not a craft. Not a flare. A shape elongated, skeletal, woven from strands of liquid glass. It pulsed with rhythm, like breath, like listening. My knees buckled. A hum filled my bones, sinking with my heartbeat until I couldn't tell the difference. The stars above flickered and then moved. Slowly. Deliberately. As if rearranging themselves to form an ear across the sky. I clutched my head, choking on panic. No. The words melted in my mouth, pulled apart like fabric unraveling. I could feel thought itself slipping, as though they were trying it on, wearing my fear like a coat. A shadow stirred within the light. Not human. Not even close. Yet familiar, as if carved from the outline of my own memory. It leaned not down, not closer, but into me. And then, I wasn't standing in the desert. I was submerged. Suspended. Above, below, all around in this dark water, shattered only by threads of that blue glow. Something vast moved in it. A presence without edges. And it was not asking. It was searching. The resonance in my head screamed, splitting into 1,000 voices at once. Do not answer. Do not show them. But the presence already had me. It sifted through memory, pulling images, rolled a signal light on the highway, the taste of iron in the wind, the face of the woman who had whispered, "You carry it." It stopped. Focused. The pressure deepened. They had found what they wanted. My chest seized. I tried to scream, but only silence poured out. And in that silence, I felt it. They weren't just listening. They were repeating, mirroring my own voice inside my head, speaking as me with me against me. And then from beyond the water, beyond the light, a single eye opened. Not round, not human, an abyss ruined with fireless flame. It turned. It saw me, and every part of me knew the sky itself had been waiting. I woke or thought I woke on a rocky plateau. The desert stretched into a void, edges smudged, the night sky fractured like cracked glass. The resonance lingered in my skull, an unending pulse. Every thought I tried to form was mirrored, dissected, replayed back at me. I remembered the spire, the sphere, the blue light, but the memories were layered over another. A classroom in 1997. A boy staring at lights overhead, terrified. An echo of another life, another witness overlapping mine. The wind carried voices, not words. Whispers. Soft, urgent, like they had been recorded and sent through time. They beckoned, laughing silently, promising truth. I stumbled forward. Each step made the ground ripple like walking across a shallow pond. And everywhere I looked, the desert reflected other deserts. Other versions of myself wandering, screaming, running. 1,000 echoes of choices I never made. Then a shadow detached itself from the fractured horizon. Not quite human, not entirely light. A figure with a face shifting, morphing, like liquid reflections of my own fears. It spoke. No words. A feeling pressed into me, "You're not alone." I fell to my knees, gripping the earth of what I thought was earth. The echo whispered, "They are all witnesses. All carriers. All lost." The resonance flared again, showing flashes. A family disappearing in a bright glow. Military trucks rolling across dry washes. A scientist recording data, his face twisted in awe and terror. My vision blurred. The plateau bent. The sky became solid, pressing down thick as glass. I felt the archive inside me, round me, everywhere. And the eye from before, the abyss of flame, hovered above, unblinking, patient. Then voices spoke through me, not in me. "Do you understand now? The archive is not theirs. It is yours to bear." I screamed, but the sound wasn't mine. It belonged to everyone who had ever carried it, and yet to no one. Time fractured. Moments collided. I saw flashes of witnesses I would never meet, screaming across centuries, a network of lives touched by the same maker. And then stillness. The wind ceased. The fractured sky solidified. Only one figure remained, the Dislie. And in its silent presence, I understood one terrifying truth. I was no longer alone. And yet, no one could help me. From the edge of perception, something moved. A faint glow. Human or almost. It extended a hand. An invitation. Or a trap. I didn't know which. I stepped forward anyway. Figure extended its hand, calm and deliberate. I froze, knowing that contact would change everything. I could feel the archive thrumming within me, pulsing in time with its presence. The air thickened, and the scent rose to ozone in something metallic, almost alive. The ground beneath me rippled as if breathing. I stepped closer, drawn despite every instinct. The figure's face resolved human, familiar, yet impossibly perfect, symmetrical in ways no human could naturally be. Eyes deep, unyielding, glowing faintly blue, mirroring the light that had come before. It spoke not with voice, but inside my skull. "You carry the archive. You see what others cannot. Do you understand what that means?" I stagger, words failing me. The resonance inside me answered before I could form a sentence. "It is not power. It is responsibility. And it will demand everything." Flashes assaulted me. A city swallowed by a sudden, silent sky of blue. A boy staring upward, screaming unheard. Military personnel frozen mid-step, eyes wide in revelation. Every image was vivid, raw, searing into memory. The figure moved closer, hand brushing my shoulder. A shiver tore through me. I felt my thoughts being scanned, sorted, catalogued. Not invasive, precise, like the archive itself teaching me to see. "You will witness more than one lifetime," it said. "You will carry truths not yet spoken." I tried to speak, to ask a question, but the words dissolved. The archive pulsed, echoing the figure's intent. Then it opened its other hand. Inside, a fragment of reality, a scene not yet happened, but inevitable. A spacecraft descending silently into a crowded city square. People frozen in awe and panic. The same blue light that had hunted me now enveloping them. I staggered back, my stomach twisting. "Why show me this?" I whispered. "Because it will come." The voice of thought pierced me. And only those who carry the echo can prepare for it. The ground trembled. Shadows stretched unnaturally, elongating toward the figure, toward me. The desert horizon cracked, revealing glimpses of impossible structures. I tried to move. My legs refused. Every fiber of my being screamed to flee. The figure tilted its head, a silent question. Then without warning it vanished. I was alone. The wind returned. The night sky settled into stars again. But the archive still pulsed inside me, louder now. And in the distance another shape emerged, darker, slower, watching. I realized I wasn't done. The desert had more to show, and I was not ready. The desert shifted beneath me, no longer sand, no longer rock. It was as if the earth had been replaced with something alive, pulsing, breathing, watching. Every step I took sent ripples through it, and the archive throbbed in my chest, louder, insistent. The dark shape in the distance drew closer. Not humanoid, not solid, its edges dissolved into the night, but it radiated presence, intent. Every nerve in my body screamed that this was a culmination. I stumbled forward, driven by something I could not name. Every thought I tried to hold was mirrored back at me, refracted, twisted. I saw fragments of other lives, other witnesses, other carriers of echoes. All lost. All waiting. A voice rose, not mine. Do you see? Do you understand what you carry? The shape resolved into something more defined. An immense figure, taller than any man, composed of shimmering strands of light and memory. Its face, if you could call it that, shifted constantly, showing every expression I had ever feared or longed for. The archive is not just knowledge, it said, vibrating through my bones. Asterisk, it is consequence. Every witness shapes reality, every memory sustains it. And now you have crossed the threshold. Asterisk. I staggered back, overwhelmed. The resonance surged, images flooding me, cities lit by blue fires, crowds frozen in awe, skies fracturing, a world watching, waiting. And yet, among the chaos, a thread of clarity emerged. My own actions mattered. The archive had chosen me to carry this truth. Then, the impossible. The figure reached toward me, not with menace, but with inevitability. And as its hand brushed the air around my chest, I felt the archive expanding not just inside me, but around me, beyond me, entwining with the desert, the sky, the stars. The resonance spoke directly now. Asterisk, all who listen bear the echo. All who carry it shape the threshold. Asterisk, I fell to my knees. Images of witnesses past, present, and future merged. Faces I knew and did not know, voices I had heard and forgotten. The archive was alive, conscious, and it demanded choice. And then silence. Absolute, suffocating silence. I opened my eyes. The desert was gone. The stars were gone. Only a void stretched before me, infinite, waiting. And in that void, a single point of blue light, pulsating. The last echo. And I knew, without seeing, that it was watching me as I would watch the world. I whispered into the nothing. What do you want from me? The point of light pulsed once, sharply, answering not with words, but with understanding. And then everything changed. The blue point pulsed once more. I felt it resonate through every fiber of my being. Time fractured, folding past, present, and future into a single moment. I was everywhere, nowhere, and yet entirely myself. The archive spoke not as voices, but as understanding. Choice is the final test. Will you carry the echo, or let it consume the world? I stared into the void, the infinite pulse before me. Memories of witnesses, moments, lives played in rapid succession. Each image bore a warning, a lesson, a fragment of truth humanity was not ready to see. And then I saw it. A city alive, bright and fragile. Children running beneath streetlights. People looking up and knowing as a shadow began to fall from the sky. The same blue glow I had once feared approached. You can change this, the archive whispered. But only by giving yourself entirely. My mind screamed in protest. The weight of centuries, of every witness pressed down. Every fear, every loss, every truth I had carried collided. I reached out, letting the archive flow through me, merging with the light, the desert, the void. The pulse surged, and then the impossible. The sky itself twisted, folding inward like paper. The blue light paused, then reversed. Instead of descending, it scattered, dispersing into harmless glimmers. Breathless, I fell to my knees. The resonance softened, humming gently now, like a heartbeat I could follow. The archive had accepted my choice. I had shaped the echo, but at a cost. When I opened my eyes, the desert returned. Stars were scattered across the night, ordinary again. The spire, the figures, the abyssal eye all gone. Only I remained. Yet inside, I could feel them. Every witness. Every echo. Every truth I carried now lived inside me, silent and waiting. And I understood the world would not know. The skies would remain unchanged, the streets safe for now. But the burden, the knowledge, the archive itself, it would never leave me. I rose, stepping forward into the desert night. The wind whispered, carrying distant echoes of voices I had never heard and would never forget. The horizon shimmered faintly, as if reminding me. Every choice has consequence. Every witness leaves a mark. And somewhere, beyond the reach of sight, the blue light waited ready to test another who would dare listen.